Здравствуйте, дорогие наши офлайн и онлайн зрители. Приветствуем вас на ток-шоу, посвященное MICE возможностям Италии, проводимое ЭНИТ. Это Национальное агентство Италии по туризму.
Многие крупные компании из года в год, совершая бизнес-трип, сталкиваются с тем, что MICE-агентства начинают предлагать им одни и те же места и в точности повторяющие друг друга программы. Почему? Так привыкли работать местные DMC, которые предлагают всем стандартный туристический продукт.
Когда мы говорим о самом популярном направлении, это Италия. У нас есть гость сегодняшней программы, настоящий корпоративный клиент. Светлана Шилова, это директор по продажам компании «Феринг».
Несмотря на это сложное время, у нас есть сотрудники, которые прекрасно работают, и у нас традиция в компании награждать лучших сотрудников инсентив-трип или поездкой. Это 20 человек, мы вообще не рассматриваем Италию ни разу, потому что все уже там были. Что может нам предложить Италия? Рим? Все там были. Венеция, наши сотрудники точно там были. Милан, мы не хотим организовывать шопинг-трип, мы хотим организовать инсентив-трип. Поэтому наш запрос, как сказал уже Дмитрий, удивите нас.
Please share with us your vision of the Italian tourism development for the Russian MICE.
Okay.
According to your observations, what is the main request of agency clients and how we can satisfy them? Thank you very much, Mr. Tobia.
Hello. First of all, it's a great pleasure to be here with you today. Great event organized by ЭНИТ Russian office. We've been seeing a great development of the Russian demand over the last few years. If I look back to, I must say, 5-6 years ago, the Russian clients were asking mainly for the big famous cities, okay? So Rome, Milan, Venice. So that was the main request, probably the only request. So incentive programs, even luxury programs, they were focusing on the best sellers, okay, on the most famous cities and the one that have always performed the best in Italy. Then, in a way, the demand has developed, and I must say that Russian clients have started to look at cozier destinations, cozier locations, okay? So to have the sense of exclusivity and to provide to their clients, the Russian clients, something different, okay? I think that the pandemic that we are going through is going to accelerate this process. So I think this is a great opportunity. I see that here many, I wouldn't like to call them secondary destinations, but different destinations are connected. So this is a great opportunity for Russian clients to get to know something different that Italy has always offered and is able to offer to Russian clients. So of course you don't have to forget about our bestsellers, because still in the big cities, in Rome, in Milan, in Venice, you can always find something new, something different. There are cities that are evolving at a very fast pace. So you are able, I'm referring to you Russian clients, you're able to propose and to invent different programs, even in the cities that you already know. But anyway, I think this is a good opportunity also to get to know some different destinations, some different locations that are offering some new opportunities for all of you.
Представитель Московского ЭНИТ Екатерина Ваулина.
Вот как раз, чтобы помочь вам сориентироваться в этом море, мы и создали каталог, и мы поняли, что сейчас, когда временно чуть-чуть все замерло, это самый подходящий момент, чтобы наладить контакты, мосты навести на будущее, мы пригласили не совсем всех, но это основные ведущие Конвеншн-бюро Италии. И если вы заходите, то вы увидите такие симпатичные, типа кнопочек, да, и нажимая на каждую, раскрывается карточка. Что в этой карточке? Все самое необходимое. Во-первых, краткая основная информация по региону, как MICE направлению. Причем мы называем регионы, но реально это и города, и целые области. Дальше кратко, прям по пунктам, где-то 4-5 основные, вот как называется, sailing point, да, unique sailing points, да, основные преимущества каждого из направлений. Понятно, что контакты без них никуда. И дальше подгружена в каждую карточку уже более развернутая презентация по тому, чем в основном славится знаменит этот регион, по логистике. Дальше обязательно по площадкам. Какие, сколько площадок существует?
Директор по маркетингу ЭНИТ Мария Елена Росси.
Welcome everyone, both to all the partners in Russia and to all Italian partners. There is since many years a strong relationship between our countries, also in terms of business. And the tourism flows have been growing consistently during the last years before the pandemic. And in terms of international positioning of the Italian brand and in Russia, all the data are confirming us that Italy is still top of mind in terms of future travel intentions. And so we are very well aware of this situation, but we also know that the demand will restart also in terms of business travel and also in terms of the meeting industry, where Italy is positioned as the fifth destination in the world. Today you will have an extensive clue about what Italy is all about. In particular, we are presenting today all our main cities, and Italy is a country of cities, art cities, combining together tradition and innovation, and offering the best opportunities both for business travelers, meeting industry, and of course combining business with leisure, with shopping, art, nature. And during these months where we have experienced mostly domestic traveling, we have been able to set up all the protocols for security and for safe and seamless travel, thanks to, of course, a combination again of technology and of the human factor of the Italians and the Italian way of life. And I think that in this respect, there is no better place in the world where this combination can really create the best experiences also for business travelers. When we look at what Italy has been doing during these months, one of the fact that confirms the effectiveness of all the protocols for safe and seamless is the Rome airport, which has been listed again as the best airport in terms of in Europe in terms of security and of safety for the travelers. And I think this is an indication of how much not only Rome, but all the airports have been investing a lot for future travelers, which hopefully will restart in the spring of 2021. Is to thank you all and to let you continue with the presentation of the cities and their peculiar offers for the public in Russia, both business but also luxury and leisure. And we are, of course, are there as with our ЭНИТ office in Russia to answer all questions and to be at the, let's say, open to all opportunities for partnerships for the coming years.
Болонья и наш эксперт Валентина Арджолас.
We can actually do more than this, so more than booking the tickets for the theater for a private group, we can give you any kind of support you may need on the destination about organizing tours of every kind, so to museums, to factories, for the theater, ticketing for special agreements that we have, site inspection, the selection of the best local suppliers. We can help you to make with you, to construct with you an unforgettable experience. So everything you may need about the destination, here we are to help you. And I would like to add something more about the museum and the factories for motor and sports car, luxury sports car, let's say. Because we are in the heart of the Motor Valley and we are located just a few kilometers from there. So it's very easy to reach them and to combine together the visit to the museum and to the factory.
У нас на связи следующий эксперт. Это Эмилия-Романья и наш гость Эмилия-Романья.
I just tried to make an overview about Emilia-Romagna region. I would like to tell you the main features of the region. Emilia-Romagna, as Tobia was saying before, definitely represents one of the less known destinations in Italy. Although we have such an incredible variety of offers, of tourist offers. Okay, I read your question about the optimal time to visit Emilia-Romagna, and I would say actually there isn't an optimal time because according to where you are going, where the beautiful art cities can welcome tourists and business tourists as well, throughout the year. They are very well developed, a rich cultural and artistic offer. You can really visit Emilia-Romagna region in any time. Bologna is one of our main partners. We have 2 convention bureaus in the region. One is Bologna, one is Rimini. So I would say if you choose Rimini, would be better to avoid the summer season when it's high season for beach tourists. Otherwise, you can visit the region in any time of the year. Except beside one of the main attraction, which is the Motor Valley. Valentina already talked about it. I can also mention gastronomy of our region, which is really, really important. With our 44 certified products, we have the highest number of certified product in Italy and in Europe. So these 2 main features are obviously very interesting for leisure tourism, but they can be transformed into very interesting activities for incentive programs and obviously business tourism as well.
We would like to know what are the main MICE destinations in Emilia-Romagna if you can combine business and leisure, like excursions and the cities.
which are the main destination in Emilia-Romagna.
Absolutely.
Right.
Thank you.
We can say that we can ideally divide Emilia-Romagna into 3 different districts. If you have a look to the map that I put in the last page of my PowerPoint presentation, you see the main cities of the region. So we can divide really the region in 3 parts, Parma, Bologna, and Rimini. So Parma, these are also the main cities where you can find the most important and biggest venues for meetings, for congresses, and the most important variety of incentive activities. In Parma, especially oriented in food, as it is the heart of the so-called food valley, with some iconic products such as Parmigiano Reggiano or Parma ham, where you can visit the production, where you can organize any kind of activities related to food. But it is also the land of Giuseppe Verdi, one of the most popular composer of opera. So you would have the possibility to offer to your clients either the participation to a beautiful opera during the Verdi Festival, or you can organize private opera events for a group with some singers. About Bologna, Valentina already spoke, and Rimini, which is on the Adriatic coast. It is a very popular beach destination, but it's also a city where you can find one of the 2 biggest congress center of our region and one of the biggest in all Italy. It is a quite new congress center, very technological, not too far from the city center, connected with a beautiful park. So it would be also a perfect destination for MICE and for business. But in general, I would like to repeat that all our city combines this wonderful mix of business, attractions and leisure. In one word, we can say it's a leisure destination, business and leisure. It means that everywhere you go, you will find an authentic touch of Italian style. Thank you.
С нами на связи наш эксперт из Генуа, Паола Гуччони, правильно, я надеюсь, я говорю, и Марина Ферраси.
Genoa is known as a city located in a variety of different altitudes. Do you have any pre-made tours for groups that cover the city in its entirely in one trip?
Yeah.
Hello everyone, I would like to give you a very warm welcome from the city of Genoa. I'm Paola and I represent the Convention Bureau of the city. Genoa is, as you know, is the capital of the Liguria region. We are by the sea in the north part of Italy, and the city is in the middle of our region, just a short distance from the very famous villages of Portofino and the area of Cinque Terre. The city can be considered an open space museum, and it is really easy to be visited by walking and visited all the area, even in one day or in more than one day. The first area to visit is the area of the ancient port. It is called in Italian Porto Antico. It is a very lively area where the famous aquarium and the very famous Galata Museum stands. In that area also stands the Congress Center of the city, which is the unique in Italy, located by the sea. This Congress Center used to be an ancient cotton warehouse, and the famous architect Renzo Piano converted it in the Congress Center it is today. In front of this cotton warehouse, there is the famous aquarium, as I told you before, where there is a possibility to organize private tour, but not only leisure tour with incentive occasion, but also private and exclusive dinner, because after the hour of public visiting, there is the possibility to use it in exclusive and organize, for instance, events or cocktail or even private dinner. It is a very exclusive location. In the same area, there is also, if you are not afraid of AIDS, as you told before, there is a very famous panoramic lift that leads you up to 40 meters to really enjoy the panoramic view of the city. Genoa is a very panoramic city because it stands. It is by the sea, but also together with the mountain or the hill that makes you really enjoy the view of our destination. Genoa is not only a city of sea, of course, but is a very city of art, and part of our historical center belongs to the World Heritage List of the UNESCO. And all these buildings can be visited, of course, in private tour, but you can organize inside this part of this building some tour, or even the famous cooking lesson with our very well-known pesto sauce. I mean, our traditional cuisine is very, we can say, poor, but is a very famous cuisine. So there is the possibility to organize inside this unique building an incentive occasion of cooking lesson or of show cooking or an enogastronomic tour. That's a general representation of the city. Of course, our convention bureau can organize and can help you in organizing all the tour or even the occasion you would like to have in our city, and we wait to welcome you in our destination.
Could you tell us about the most famous elevator in Genoa, located in Via Balbi, please?
Yes, this elevator is an historical elevator. It is called Monte Galletto lift. The name depends on because this elevator connects you from the city center up to an hill of the city called Monte Galletto, and it is an historical elevator where it starts horizontally, but then it goes up very vertically, and it ends to this hill of the city where a famous location stands. The location is Castello d'Albertis, where there is the possibility to have a visit of this location, but also to have a really unique panoramic of the city. The Castello d'Albertis hosts the museum dedicated to the culture of many peoples of the world. So it's the museum of the cultural people of the world. So it's very nice to be visited. And this panoramic lift can connect you from the city center up to this view. Of course, it's an historical lift of this.
Elena, I have a bit of a straight-up female question. Do you have any pre-made shopping tour across Milan?
Ciao from Milan.
It's a female question. Do you have any pre-made shopping tour across Milan.
Milan is known all over the world for its history, for design, food, and of course for fashion. Milan is the only place in the world where you can find in just 2 square kilometers the Monte Napoleone district, where you can find in over 150 national and international brands of fashion. This is a unique opportunity in the world, but Milan has many fashion districts that are not just high-end, but of course of high quality. Saying that, if the question is if we can have a pre-made shopping tour across Milan, the answer is of course yes. We provided them many times, both for pre-made shopping tour and personal shopper experience, as we did in the recent past with a group of Chinese people that came to Milan. And around Milan as well, you have the opportunity with all our mall to satisfy any desire of shopping. So my answer to your question is certainly yes.
How early should you reserve the visit to Santa Maria del Grazie to see the Last Supper? Could you help with an answer, please, for this question?
Of course. As I mentioned, Milan has a lot of history to offer. Milan has archaeological finds starting from cells 600 before Christ. That means that also many Roman ruins can be visited in our city. Of course, one of the symbols after the Duomo Cathedral and the La Scala Opera House is the Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper. But you have to know that Leonardo, who lived in Milan for more than 20 years, has not just left us the Last Supper fresco, but also many other masterpieces like the canals, his personal vineyard, the musico at the Pinacoteca Borziana, and the super famous Codice Atlantico, that is an authentic jewel of his studies of many fields, from the engineering to human flights to the study of body, passing through art. Of course, to visit the Last Supper requires to plan it in advance, at least 1 month before the date of your arrival. You have to know that it is allowed to 25 people each 15 to 20 minutes due to the system protection of the fresco from differences of temperature and humidities from body. I can tell you that not for big groups, of course, you can normally find tickets available during your stay, just going directly to the ticket office. And of course, we are able to help you with any request, having at least a bit of time, normally 1 month in advance, to reserve tickets. So we can't wait to host you in Milan, and of course we'll be able to help you.
Предлагаю сейчас прямо подключиться к региону Неаполь. Пусть нам расскажут, что еще, кроме Везувия и знаменитой пиццы, чем нас может удивить Неаполь.
What is a must-visit tour, especially for a large group of colleagues? What place should they visit to help them bond and get inspiration for cooperative achievements? What are the specific places? Looking forward to your answer.
Yes, actually, Napoli can be the ideal destination, particularly for bonding and team-building activities for many reasons. First of all, the weather, because weather in Napoli is always warm, always mild all year round, so the city can be enjoyed in any time of the year, even in winter. Secondly, history. I don't know how many of you know that Napoli has more than 2,500 years since the city has been founded by ancient Greeks. So this results in in a great value for cultural and artistical heritage that, together with breathtaking landscapes, lifestyle, the gastronomy, the highly qualified hospitality industry, makes the city ideal for team building and bonding activities. So for this kind of group, I would advise a visit to the Historic Center, which is a UNESCO site, but also the biggest historic center in all Europe. So there you can find amazing locations like churches, museums, historic buildings that can be privatized for your events or for team building activities. So Top of mind is the National Archaeological Museum that possesses an important collection of ancient Greek and Roman remains. It is located just into the city center, and it gives you a real time travel experience. Also, you should know that Napoli has not one, not two, but 3 royal palaces. The biggest is the Capodimonte Royal Palace, located just outside the city center on the top of a hill, so you will have a breathtaking landscape in front of you. And the Capodimonte Royal Palace is surrounded by a great forest where the king used to go hunting. So there you will have a great deal of different bonding activities. Also, you should know that Napoli, through the years, has developed in layers. So you practically have an underground city that can be accessed in different points from the historic center. The biggest area in the underground is the Catacomb of Naples, which is really big, so it can be experienced also from people with claustrophobia, maybe. So there you will have a space for up to 300 people, so it is really, really big. And you can do conventional activities like treasure huntings and so on. Finally, music. Most of the songs you know from Napoli, from Italy, comes from Napoli, like O Sole Mio, for example. It is written in Napolitan, our dialect. And in Napoli, we host one of the most important lyric theater in all Europe, that is the San Carlo Theater, that can host exclusive events or also private concerts with the original orchestra. Last but not least, Napoli has one of the strongest traditions in food and wine. So, for example, pizza has born in Napoli in the 18th century, but we are also the homeland of limoncello, of babà, of espresso coffee, of mozzarella, and thanks to the mild weather and the hilly territory, we have a great production of both red and white wines. So there are many local firms that are glad to host international groups to do wine tastings, cooking activities, and many of these local firms are located in the countryside, just outside Napoli, or up on the volcano, on the Vesuvius volcano. So there you will have a good wine and tasting and cooking activity together with a wonderful view in front of you.
If the subject is about large corporate group tours, in Naples, generally speaking, suitable for 400 or 500 people, does the city provide options for such program? Can this visit be organized for large groups?
Naples has many hotels that can host this kind of number together with congress venues. As for the social program, besides the venue I already told you about that are quite big, Napoli also has 4 castles located in different points of the city that can host big groups, for example, for gala dinners in a medieval atmosphere, so they are very beautiful. Also, did you know that the first train railway started from Napoli? And there is a beautiful museum that is the Petrarca Museum, located just 20 minutes outside Napoli, that can host big groups. And it also has an open amphitheater, very big, up to 1,000 people, overlooking the Bay of Naples. So there you will have amazing sunset aperitifs, or also theatrical or musical representation. Also, Napoli is a very lucky city because it is surrounded by jewels. Like 20 minutes away from Napoli, you will have Pompeii and Herculaneum, the perfectly preserved ancient Roman cities that you can visit and doing a very full-time travel experience. Also, in the Bay of Naples, we have one of the most beautiful islands in the world, that is Capri, that you can go visit just 1 hour by hydrofoil, and also Ischia, that is the biggest island in the Gulf of Naples. Also there you can have amazing tours and experiences. Finally, Sorrento is just half an hour away by highway, and also you can reach the Amalfi Coast just a few panoramic roads away from Napoli, just 1 hour by bus. And also there you can reach Amalfi, you can reach Positano with your groups and have an amazing experience. Of course, for this kind of groups, since they are quite big, you can decide to split the groups in smaller parts and do different kind of visits in different parts of the day, and to let the people who participate to this group to best enjoy the experience. So we wait for you in Naples, and us as Конвеншн-бюро Napoli will be glad to support you.
Тогда пусть еще что-нибудь интересное, но коротко нам поведает наш эксперт из Падуи, Лаура Фаваретти. You are alive, and in the presentations, you are writing about diving in thermal waters. Could you tell us more about it? What is the maximum amount of people in the group can be in the diving activity?
Yeah, thank you very much for asking, Olga, because this is a very particular offer that we can suggest for groups and events in our destination. First of all, Padova is located in Veneto region, so we are only 30 minutes from Venice, which is really a plus for us. And the city itself is an historical destination, one of the most ancient university in Italy and in the world, and I will tell you a bit more about that later. But of course, regarding the thermal area, which is pretty famous as well, especially within Russian market for leisure, but of course it's a destination where a lot of things can be organized as well for groups, incentive, corporate events. The thermal area of Abano, Montegrotto, Galzignano Terme, some of you might be familiar with these names, is an area located about 10 minutes driving from the city center of Padova, so very nearby. And we have more than 100 hotels, all with internal swimming pools and spa. The best treatment there is mud therapy, but you know, during the years, a lot of news happen in the territory, and one especially is the Y-40 swimming pool. This swimming pool is the deepest swimming pool in the world, and it's the only one with thermal water. So it's really a unique event, not only for swim, but also for events and incentive. To answer to your question, Olga, the perfect group size for diving in that swimming pool is about 20 people, because of course it's something that also people that are not familiar with diving can try. So for principiant, but 20 people is a perfect size. Of course, it's also possible to organize in different groups, so we can, without any problem, reach 50 people for this kind of unique activity that you can only have there in the thermal water of our unique swimming pool. Moreover, let me add that the location also hosts meeting rooms, and that the swimming pool can be completely personalized and privatized. So I know that a lot of your guests work with corporate events. You can add your logo, you can have entertainment inside the swimming pool, you can have music, so you can really do a very special, unique event. Moreover, let me add that the thermal area is located nearby the Euganian Hills. These hills are absolutely beautiful, really green, very good wine there. And what we suggest after a diving experience is definitely to host a dinner in the wineries. I'm sure that your guests will be really impressed about our territory.
Padua, as we know, is resident for the Scrovegni Chapel. Scrovegni. Sorry if I pronounce wrong. Is it possible to visit it as a group? It would be also interesting to see Giotto frescoes.
Thank you for asking, Olga, also because this is very important to us. The city of Padua is also known as the city of a fresco. Let me add that we are now candidate to obtain our second UNESCO heritage site in Padua. The first one is the Botanical Garden, which is the oldest university botanical garden in the world. Another unique location for events, because you are surrounded by plants, trees, flowers, and history. But now we are waiting with a lot of hope, of course, the recognition that will happen in June 2021 to be a UNESCO site, also with the pictorial cycle of the frescoes. The Scrovegni Chapel, so the pronunciation was quite good, the Scrovegni Chapel is definitely the most visited monument in Padova. To allow everybody to visit it, of course, it has a very strict organization, as well as my colleague from Milan before I explain you. So what is the organization? Basically, the Scrovegni Chapel is visitable with reservation mainly, and the time scheduled for the visit is half an hour. A maximum group size for one slot inside the chapel is 25 people. So if you have a reservation, that can be taken a little bit of time in advance, but not too much. Probably it's fine also 1 or 2 weeks, or maybe 3 weeks in a very high season, which is a spring and autumn. You know, it's possible to visit in groups of 25. But I would like to add you something really special that we create for groups and events. We created this exclusive group offer that can basically reserve the entire slot in every moment of the day. But it is also possible to book the visit after the closing time of the Eremittani Museum for a little overprice. So it's not, you know, a very expensive thing, but very exclusive activity. The chapel is inside this museum. Basically, it's also possible to organize an aperitif inside the museum in the Egyptian room of the museum, and eventually, after the visit of the chapel, also a dinner in the outdoor chiostro of the museum. The maximum number of people inside the chapel is still 25, but with access every 15 minutes, it is possible to host 100 people in 1 hour. And your guests that are waiting are not actually waiting outside the chapel, but they can join the museum and the aperitif that you can have in this historical, beautiful space. So Padova is a lot about art, a lot about culture. We have one of the most important universities in Italy, which also means that we are a very young destination with a lot of cultural activities happening in the city. Theater, you know, different museums to visit. And just let me add that we are building a new conference center that will open next year to host event up to 1,600 people. We work a lot with cultural group, of course, with the leisure groups, with the thermal area facilities, but of course also with the corporate and association event. So let me add again, thank you to all of you to have the possibility to know you a bit more about our destination, and hopefully see you soon in Padova and in the surrounding area.
Please tell us, is there a particularly good to visit the lake location? And could you also just tell us more about the lake?
Yes, of course. The Lake District is one of the major tourist destinations in northern Italy, which has more than 3.7 million visitors every year. It's very easy to reach the area, especially from abroad, thanks to the proximity of the Milan-Malpensa Intercontinental Airport, which is located only 30 kilometers from the Lake Maggiore. The Lake District is composed by 3 lakes. The most important and famous of all is Lake Maggiore, and then we have the Lake Orta and the Lake of Mergozzo. And it's a beautiful natural setting, and there are many things to see and to visit. It's worth mentioning the Borromean Islands. It's a group of 5 islands in the Lake Maggiore. The most renowned are the 2 islands, the Isola Madre and the Isola Bella, which are also called the 2 sister islands. And they are both very famous for ancient and historical palaces dating back to the 15th century. And these palaces are surrounded and immersed in very famous botanical gardens. There is a famous one that has more than 2,000 different species of plants and flowers and trees. But the islands are famous for the typical Italian Baroque gardens. But the area is famous for also for the many ancient villas and for the 5-star hotels along the shores of the Lake Maggiore. And these are perfect venues for conferences and events of any kind. It is possible to accommodate huge and large corporate events and conventions up to 1,200 people. But they are very good locations for minor meetings or gala dinners, parties, and also weddings. And all these events can be enriched and accompanied by very typical social activities. I think that the best one, the most typical in the area, is the boat cruise. So you can rent private boats and have your trip on the Lake Maggiore and visit the islands. And you can also offer a typical Italian cocktail aboard.
Could you also tell us about the hot air balloon flight in Langhe Monferrato Roero, about the most famous wine of the region and the most famous white truffles, please?
Oh, yes, thanks for the question. Yes, the hot air balloon is the most extraordinary way to discover the beauty of the Langhe Monferrato Roero, which is a land that now is a UNESCO site. So you can have this special flight every day of the year in favorable weather conditions, and the flight can take place in the morning or in the afternoon. The duration is about 1 hour, and at the end of the flight, all the passengers are taken to typical wine cellars or wineries of the area, where you can taste the typical products and the wines produced in this marvelous land. And all the participants can get their personalized flight certificate, which is a very nice way to make them remember this special experience, together with a video of the flight. And according to the question about wines, yeah, I can tell you that Langhe is really a paradise for wine lovers. And many wines, red and white wines are produced here. And but we say that we have a special 3B wines, which stand for Barolo, Barbaresco, and Barbera, which are absolutely the most famous wines produced in this area. All these wines can be tasted in special wine tours that can take you in the over 400 wine cellars we have in the area. And but there are also special and unique locations to taste the wine. I just quote one. It's the underground cathedrals located in Canelli, which is a small village in Monferrato, which is really a unique network of galleries and tunnels as deep as 32 meters underground, where thousands of bottles of wines are hosted. And then we have a lot of very special wine shops. Many of them are located into special in castles or very old and antique buildings or villas. And the most famous, I can say, is the 13th century castle of Grinzane Cavour, which is also the seat of a regional enoteca, where you can taste hundreds of different wines and grappas. And then you asked me about the truffle. Yes, well, the white truffle of Alba is really the king product of the area, and it can be tasted from September to January. And every year the truffle of Alba is celebrated during the international white truffle trade. which takes place for 8 weekends in the 2 months of October and November. And during this international fair, many events are organized on the territory. For example, there is the World Truffle Market, where you can have a special sensorial analysis with the experts and with the truffle seekers that will take you to discover any secret of the truffle. But there are also special activities that can be proposed to the tourists or to groups. For example, the truffle hunting. You can reach the truffle seekers and with their dogs, and they will take you in the woods and in the hills of the Lang area to seek the truffle. And of course, you can taste and enjoy the many dishes based on truffle in the many hundred, I would say 100 of different restaurants and trattorias we have in this area.
Турин, ждем вас на связи.
Elisa Pilot, please tell us about the atmospheric 19th century cafes.
Yes, first of all, I want to say you because historic cafe in Torino. Torino is an historical city. Torino was for centuries was the heart of the Kingdom of Savoy. For this reason, we have a lot of historical palaces, royal residences, and historic cafe. Historic cafe, it's said that the history of Italy was written in these cafes of Torino, because these cafes were the meeting place for aristocrats, politicians, but also revolutionaries, and we say that it was the headquarters for the Risorgimento, the Italian Risorgimento. You can enjoy in this historic cafe now the merenda reale. Merenda is a small afternoon snack typical in our region, and you can in this way you can taste our very famous chocolate. We suggest to taste our special drink called bicerin. Is typical from Torino. You can find this only in our city. It is a mix of hot chocolate, cafe, and milk cream. Very special. We can organize also for groups. We can organize merenda reale, so a royal snack, in this historic cafe in the city center or in the royal residences, in the cafeteria of the royal residences. We have several royal residences in Torino and others surrounded the city. In these royal residencies, it is also possible to organize events like dinner or cocktails or team building. So you have a lot of possibilities in Torino to organize events, from conferences, big conferences, to small incentive travel. So you have a lot of choice as venues, from historical palaces to modern venues, because Torino has also the Olympic venues, because it hosted the Winter Olympic Games in 2006.
We would like to ask about the Torino Cinema Museum, which I heard about, and also about the Cairo Museum of Egyptian Exhibits. Please tell us more about it.
Torino has about 50 museums in the city. The most important one is the Egyptian Museum, that is the second in the world after the Museum of Cairo. We have a very important collection in this museum, about 30,000 pieces in fourth floor of the building of the museum, and it is possible also to organize events in the museum in the beautiful rooms called statuario. In these two rooms we have big statues coming from Egypt. And in this way, you can experience the museum, and you can enjoy this kind. It is a unique experience that you can have in the city. It is really it is one of the largest collection of Egyptian antiquities in the world. And yes, you can find human mummies, an important papyrus collection, and the Gallery of Kings, so very unique place. After the Museum of Cairo, of the Egyptian Museum, we have the Cinema Museum, that is very important. The Cinema Museum, it is in a very special location because it is in the Mole Antonelliana, that is the monument symbol of the city. It has an extraordinary collections, and also it is beautiful, the exhibition set up inside of the Mole Antonelliana. The core of this museum is the temple hall, surrounded by small chapels that dedicated to the cult of cinema. And a panoramic lift goes to the top of the building, 85 meters high, where you have a beautiful panoramic view. In the temple hall, you can have events as cocktails, and they have also a space in the ground floor of the museum for cocktails or dinners, so special events. And you are in the city center.
На связи наш эксперт из Бари.
The castle, De Monto Castle, a UNESCO heritage site. Is it available for a gala dinner for MICE group? If so, how many people can it fit?
Let me introduce very briefly about Bari. Bari is the main town of Puglia, and it's quite well known from the Russian population because of San Nicolas Basilica. You have your beloved San Nicola di Miria, and this is the Orthodox Church. And this Orthodox Church invites a lot of Russian, and so we have already a very interesting religious tourism. Bari is a very, very lovely town. It's a very authentic town, and you can see it through the locals, the indigenous, that you can really enjoy the slowly and the healthy life. For example, while walking through the narrow streets of the old town, you can still see fishermen, or you can see the old ladies doing pasta, which is orecchiette, and or you can still smell, the fresh, just baked bread. So it's an authentic city with a wonderful climate. We are on the Adriatic coast in the south of Italy. And as a Bari Convention Bureau, we represent the territory within the MICE industry. And we are the ideal point of reference for professionals who want to organize corporate events or congresses in town and Puglia all around. As you said, Castel del Monte, it's an UNESCO, one of the 4 UNESCO sites in Puglia, and it's approximately 50 kilometers from Bari, and it's up on a hill, and you just can see, it overviews the sea.
And it would be a great idea to have gala dinners. But the point is that it's quite windy and there is no backup in case of bad weather. So I would suggest always to do like dinners or special events in our masserie, which are fortified farmhouses in all of Puglia. And they are very ancient and all converted in a special venues. So my suggestion is always to address, gala dinners in these other kind of venues, which are masseria. We have other things also to explore, such as, apart the culinary tradition, which is well known all over Italy as Italian cuisine, but also it's nice to experience like trulli, which are these conical houses, also UNESCO World Heritage we have. And also we have the sea, we have this crystalline sea that can also be enjoyed, I would say, all over the year. I mean, people are still here bathing every day, and we are like the 19th of November. And I would just tell you also that we have an international airport and also a port. But this our international airport, we had a direct flight from Moscow. And unfortunately, because of this pandemic now, is everything, a bit, we are just deciding what can we do, but I think in the next month will come again the direct flight from Moscow, and which is something very important for us to attract also beautiful events or luxury travel or other kind of tourism. That's all from me. I thank you very much for the invitation, and I'm here for any kind of other further questions.
One more
Thank
question,
you.
please. When visiting the authentic Alberto Bello, could we provide any workshops, master classes, and what is the optimal size of the group?
You mean Albero Bello? Albero Bello is a UNESCO site in Puglia, which is also around approximately 60 kilometers from Bari, which is a town, and it's very famous for these conical houses called trulli. In Albero Bello, it would be, it's very nice to explore all the old town, but also it's very interesting to do like some incentive travels, like for example, orienteering, like kind of team building, or also we can arrange like dinners in the streets of the old town, or like a buffet for tasting, or like olive oil tasting or pasta tasting, whatever, mozzarella tasting. And but first of all, it's very interesting to explore this a fairy tale town called Albero Bello.
Everyone knows that Venice is a magical city and with an admirable amount of sights to see and places to visit. What unique platforms for MICE events would you recommend?
First of all, thank you for the invitation. And hello everybody from Venice. Here you can have any kind of venue for any kind of meeting. For instance, I can start with the main convention center. It's Palazzo del Cinema. It's located in the Lido Island. It's the only island where you can move by car, because you know, of course, that in Venice you cannot use the car and it's everything on the water. And it's where the film festival is held every year. Then you can have historical museums where you can have events, or the opera theater La Fenice, where you can have meetings in the parterre, and then you can have a dinner in the Apolline room. But you can use any palace on the Grand Canal, especially the historic palaces of the 17th and 18th century. And we have the main hotel international chains like Hilton, Marriott, Kempinski, NH, and so on. So also we have hotels, and many of them are located on private islands or palaces on the Grand Canal. And you can even use industrial areas such as the Arsenal, that was the biggest industrial area in Europe during the Middle Age, and where you can have it represents 1/6 of the entire city. So imagine it's huge area, and you can have empty pavilions, and you can use them for events. So, and you can even use the squares of the city. Our company can give the permission to use public land and the water. We hosted car presentation on the water, floating on the water. So, and even a football match floating on the water with the Sony. And 2 days ago with the PlayStation, there was the presentation of the new PlayStation, and they were in San Marco Square.
Thank you very much. We also heard about a unique manufacture of carnival masks. Where could you create marvels with your own hands? What are other unpopular places that could be found in Venice?
One of the activities that you can have as a post-Congress activity is for sure the masks, the carnival mask, to create your own mask. But also there are activities connected to the glass production in the Murano Island, where you can see a maestro blowing, and you can experiment yourself that activity, or team building on the water, for instance, rowing like a gondolier. It's a typical activity. And treasure hunt in the small and narrow streets that you have in Venice. And also there is the possibility to participate and be a protagonist during our traditional events, such as the carnival. We have the official dinner show and many parties in different palaces. And then we have the Redeemer. It's 45 minutes fireworks on the San Marco Basin, and we have a private dinner inside the Doge Palace, dedicated only to companies, so not to tourists, but only for groups connected to companies. And then we have the historic regatta, and you can be in the stage, the authority stage, and at the arrival of the, let's say, the Formula One of the gondolas. So these are some possibilities that you can, of activities, post-Congress activities that you can realize here in Venice, I hope.
Everyone has been to Rome. It's a very popular destination. Are there any new and unique platforms for MICE events that we can use for our corporate clients?
Oh, definitely. We just realized a new MICE platform from the Convention Bureau to the world, which is not being officially launched actually, but we are going to do in the very next week. And it's going to be the very MICE portal of the city. You will find all the stakeholders about the meeting industry, which means conference venues, hotel with conference facilities, agencies, and services that will be helpful to the one who want to join Rome for their meeting. So stay tuned, and we will let you know when the platform is on. But in the meantime, just use the Convention Bureau email address, which is very simple. It's info@Convention-Bureau Roma e Lazio, which is very helpful to get all the information you need.
Interesting. Very interesting. We have another question for you, Riccardo.
Okay.
Rome is a city beyond time, eternal city, capital of the world, admired by everyone. It would be nice to see the whole city, enjoy its views and atmosphere. Are there any panoramic platforms with views?
Yeah, except of my terrace, you mean?
Except of your terrace, that could be used for events.
Of course.
Privatized.
Yeah, of course. I mean, actually, all the most beautiful view of the city basically are from private terraces and public as well. But when I mean private, I mean hotel, public, private palace, which often are historic palace. So not only the outside, the view, but the inside is stunning. So we got 1,000. I mean, this city is here from more than 2,000 years. So the most beautiful places have been used to build up the most beautiful terraces. So don't worry, whatever kind of view of the city you need, if you need a modern part of the city, if you need a historical part of the city, is surrounded by terraces and nice view. So again, just come in touch with us, get in touch with us, and we will suggest you the best solution for your business, okay?
Okay. Maybe what is the largest capacity? How large can be the group for Rome? Say even for open.
Oh, it depends. I mean, there are big terraces when you can host 1,000 people, private terrace when you can host few people, but in a very intimate atmosphere. So it depends on the kind of business you wanna organize. And it's not only about terraces. There are even public places like public squares or public monuments. We got even a brand new conference center, which is called La Nuvola, which means the cloud, because it's been designed like a cloud shape into a box of glass. And that's very futuristic. And that's in a very, very nice area of the city, close to the airport, but even close to the city center. So again, the city allows you to do more or less whatever you want. So just let us know what's your project, what's your aim, what's your goal, and we will try to tailor-make the best solution for you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Ciao, ciao.
Arrivederci. Ciao.
Ciao.